been there the whole time. Just keep looking up and open up your eyes. Don't get lost in a crowd. You were made to stand out. The Wonder Creative Podcast.
So let's kind of pull back the curtain on Wonder Creative a little bit.
Yeah.
What did we learn this year?
Yeah.
What was that like? I don't even really know actually. What did I ask you? What did you learn from doing my books this year?
Can I show you something really quick? This is a good time.
Okay.
Okay, you ready for this?
Is this the surprise?
Don't get too excited.
Okay, it's a folder that says extremely important.
You gotta work to not hit the mic.
Okay.
But open it up.
Okay. What is this?
It's your report, but it's in a rainbow. Your colors.
And you
isn't
use
it? Yes. Not exactly, but.
You are so precious.
So anyway, we'll talk more about this, but I wanted to show you because
Thank you.
we have to make it. My goal is to make it like exciting for you.
It is
like
exciting.
learning it. Now you're excited to look at it, right?
I am. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So, I think one of the things I learned is that I think for you specifically, I think you maybe in the like early on were like nervous to write things off. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of business people who are like that. They're nervous to write like certain things because you're like, I don't want to get in trouble for writing this off.
Yeah,
like, if
straight
I go
to jail.
have a meal,
That's what I think every time.
You don't have to think like that.
I'll just pay for my sandwich today. It's okay. I won't burden Wonder Creative with my coffee and my sandwich.
Yeah, and even like I've seen people who just buy the computer on their personal. Even things like subscriptions that are directly related. Like I see a lot of people who now a lot of people are transitioning over, but like their Apple subscription that holds all their storage, that holds all of their reels.
I just did that. Yes. I just did that this year. Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's like bringing all of those things over. Don't be afraid to write something off that's directly related and going to be used to help, grow your business.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest things. One of the interesting things when I was looking at like comparing your reports, it's like last year you hardly spent as much, I guess, on expenses, deductions. Mm-hmm. And you started adding them on, and now it looks like, oh, you're really like, this looks good. Like, it looks good. You're starting to, like, I saw meals on there. I'm like, yes, like, those are directly related to your business. Mm-hmm. Like, anything today should have been directly related to business, right?
I did use my card today. Yes.
Good. So, like, I think that's the biggest thing. It's just getting more comfortable with, I own a business. I'm able to help with clients. Like, there's certain things I can do. Like, I think directly with service-based, you work with people and you want to get them, like, one of the easy ways that you can really, like, promote your relationship with them or connect deeper is to do a gift once a year. There's a rule on that you can only spend $25 per person. Mm-hmm. It's like weird rule, but you can only spend $25 per person and write that much off, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like certain things like that. You can, like, I know you've gotten surprises for your clients. I see that sometimes on Instagram, and I'm like, you can do that, and as long as it's $25 per year per client, you can do that.
Wow.
So say it's at Christmas, you send them a gift box and it's, $25 or less. Or it's when you finish a project, here's your, your gift. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So there's things like that. But I think you were set up pretty well because you had Honeybook. Mm-hmm. So your whole system is through there. It's not like I had to go and create an invoicing system. Like you had a really good system set up.
Yeah.
It's just Honeybook's connecting it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what can I do to improve this year?
I feel like it's really hard because I feel like you did a lot in the past year to really improve. Like I think you've done a whole lot to improve.
Yeah.
I think it's continuing to see where you are.
Yeah.
And be able to see in the future where you can go.
Yeah.
I have something interesting. I'll show you more of the details later, but I looked at your first quarter last year and your first quarter this year, and your numbers are sort of similar, but like the interesting thing is it looked like you, from my point of view, it looked like you worked really, really, really hard last quarter just to do what you did. And it's pretty similar, and you haven't had to have so many people coming in and out, and you're doing like close to the same thing. You know what I mean?
It's I noticed that this year, like things were, like I would say for my first quarter, it's not super like impressive.
Yeah,
like, but
it's good.
Things usually pick up after taxes,
Right.
like after tax time. And I've noticed like in April, like literally, okay, this is a little transparent, but like last year there wasn't really anything going on.
Right.
And then this week it was like all this stuff started happening. And I was like, it just goes to show that like lulls just don't last. Like it feels like it's going to last forever. And you start to get kind of squirmy, like, oh God, like, am I going to be bringing any money? And then it's like, you never know.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I think a lot of people also are just trying to, like small businesses or owners are just trying to get through taxes.
Right.
And because I know like there's a lot of big decisions that I didn't make, you know, last year until I knew what I was going to owe in taxes and like all that. So
as you see, and this is the goal, like you're going to have this every quarter now. Like this is, it might not be in rainbow unless you want me to mail it, which I will.
That's okay.
I will.
That's okay.
We can get you rainbow paper for you to print it on there and be happy. But like being able to take that, I think for you, one thing to improve this year is just to take that and every quarter look at it and compare it to the last one.
Okay.
And especially it's interesting because I was able to compare the first quarter of last year, the first quarter of this year. But you can do that with every single month.
Yes.
So you can pull up your April and April last year and look at that together and be like, okay, here's where I was last year. Here's where I am right now. I can expect. It's interesting because for us, we're busy during tax season, but then we slow down right after it because people are like, I don't want to think about it. Yeah. I get it. Yeah. I feel the same way. Yeah. So it's like we stay steady, but like it is in a sense a lull. So I use that time to really build training with my employees. Like I use that time to, I'm thinking about branding. I'm thinking about how can I grow other parts of the business.
Right.
So the same thing for you. We'll be able to take your books and be able to look at it and be like, okay, this is what this means, first of all. And then get to the point of where you can look forward of, should I do this or, you know, go into this direction or should I grow this avenue of my business? I think one of the biggest things for me is that what I think the COVID what are you going to call it? The 2020 to 2022, this time has taught us is that you don't have to have just one job anymore. And you don't have to have just one stream of income in one business.
Right.
Most of my big businesses have like 10, 15 streams of income coming in. The people who are really growing and being able to invest and being able to, they all have different streams.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that is a goal this year for me is to work on those passive income streams because that's not really something that I had felt to really explore yet because I still just really needed to work one-on-one with clients for a while to honestly build up my portfolio and all that. But now I'm kind of at this interesting place where I have steady money coming in. So now like, can I use that to kind of back off of some of these like one-on-one client projects and only do those however many times a year and then focus on some passive income that can just like grow with time. Yeah. And that's something that I have like as a goal this year. Yeah. So like, you know, whatever that looks like, I really want to like launch a shop and like have templates and do merch or something. I want to have a solid structure of a business. And sometimes like it's so hard because I don't know, like even what you were talking about, like looking at things like month by month or quarter by quarter, I think sometimes we as business owners, we can get in just how we feel about things. Right. But really, like whenever you get into that headspace, look at the numbers, like go to the data and see what is the data actually showing you? Like what is the actual truth? Because we can make our own realities by like just what we think. And social media can play a big part in all this too, because we get all this like instant gratification. And if we're not getting enough likes and if we're not getting enough shares, and it's like, okay, that's great for like your reach and awareness, but like, is it bringing money in? Like, you need to like, what is going to move the bottom? Like, what is going to move the needle in your business? Right. And start like thinking that way, not just like all these like vanity metrics and all that stuff. That's like, I think that's a big thing for creative businesses and specifically. Right. But
I think there are a lot of people who get, like you said, the emotion is attached because it is, like I said earlier, it's personal.
It's your
and
baby.
It's your baby. Like I see it like that of like, when this person has to pay this much more in their taxes, like they're freaking out because it's their baby.
Yes.
You know, it's their, but when you set that structure up and you're able to see, okay, I can now forecast, I can see, okay, I'm going to owe this, I can do this. But also it gives you a way, now I have structure to like, just personally, I have structure set up to where this is my goal. You know, I'm going to start moving money over into this area so that we can start investing in this, you know, so that we can start focusing on this other stream of income, or this other, more than that, like this other dream, like this other thing that I'm passionately dreaming about.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So you could say that like another good reason to hire a bookkeeper is just to be able to ask them questions. Like, because I think that's maybe something that I don't do enough of is like, because I honestly, I didn't think
that's what I do every day. So I answer questions every day.
Yeah,
like
but
emails.
like, and I just didn't think that I could ask questions. But now I'm like, why haven't I asked her more questions about like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Does this make sense like financially for me to do this? You know, like that's a really, really great reason to hire a bookkeeper. And I think that's one of the reasons why I did hire you. But then I just kind of like got lost in all the stuff that I was doing and didn't like actually utilize really the fullness of your service. Yeah.
What I love to provide that helps, and like why it's helpful to have a bookkeeper, is when I come in and take over the books and I come in and start organizing, it's now not in your mind. So I love doing this for creatives, because I've found that when you're a creative, if you see the bottom line and it stresses you out because you're not where you want to be, or you're not there yet, it can stress the creative flow. So Wyatt used to have to see a lot of his numbers, and now like we've taken it away. And even now, like, this is funny, he's gonna love I said this, he fired me. So I've been fired by my husband. But Morgan is his bookkeeper.
Oh, nice.
And so now they have meetings. Like when she comes over to work, probably once a month, she's talking to him about, here's something you need to do that's different. But it's now he doesn't have to think about anything about his finances. He can dream, and then he can say, hey, Morgan, do you think I'm there yet? Do you think I'm ready to make this step?
Yeah.
And it's really cool because now your brain doesn't have, you can be free to be creative.
You can close that tab.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. And just like, it's like the RAM of your brain, like in a computer, like the RAM is like the processing power, right? Is that right? I think that's right.
So.
Anyway, you get what I'm trying to say. The processing power just goes through the roof because you've offloaded that, like all that stuff. I mean, I can say that it's definitely peace of mind, and also it allows me to do what I do.
Right.
And let you do what you do.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we found a way that works for us for right now, like doing the quarterly and all of that, because it just goes to show you really can hire a bookkeeper anywhere in your process.
And it's more affordable, like, you know what I mean?
Yes. Okay. Let's talk about, so like a lot of the people that follow the podcast and follow me are Christians in business. And so I refer to them as like kingdom entrepreneurs. So just for anyone that's like, what are you talking about? That's what we're talking about. And for me, like, you know, in case you're new to the podcast, like I have a big heart for people that want to run impactful businesses with the Lord. And it's not weird to infuse that into your business. It's not like it's very natural. Like I believe God has a heart for business.
Right.
And so in some ways, like this is my ministry, if you will. Obviously not like in the traditional sense, but it's how I shine my light to the world. I would love to hear your thoughts on like what is your like money mindset behind like being a kingdom entrepreneur? Like how do we honor the Lord with our money and in business, all that stuff? Like just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, of course. I feel like this is, I mean, bread and butter for me. Like Wyatt and I, of course, my husband is an entrepreneur too.
Yes.
So we're sitting at home and at the lunch, like when we're eating lunch at the lunch table, at our table at lunch, we're sitting and like, we're talking about business, like, and just dreaming and talking about, I see it this way. Do you see it this way? Do you like, I'm seeing clients that see it this way. Like, you know, so we're constantly talking about this. So I feel like I have a unique perspective in the sense of I'm a business owner just like you.
Yes.
Like I'm sitting here right beside you in the same like trenches or in the same like in the same path of like running a business, you know, now like being responsible for someone else's income, multiple people's income. Like I take that responsibility very like not lightly at all. Like I take that as very important.
Yeah.
But I think one of the biggest things is we see it as way more than just making money in business. Like, you know what I mean? I see clients who are, you know, amazing at what they do, who make a huge amount of income. And then I also see people who make a good amount of income and then they are super generous. And which one's better? Like, how do we evaluate that? Or how do we, not just better, but like, how do we see like what we're meant for? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think one of the biggest things to me is I see commonly like in my daily work, I see two different mindsets. So when you talk about the money mindset, I see two different ones. The first one I'll tell you is poverty, like a poverty mindset, even as a business owner. Yeah, scarcity, poverty mindset.
Yep.
And you would think the other one would be wealthy and a rich mindset.
Yeah.
It's not. Like, it's poverty and generosity and humility. And being generous and being a lender, not a borrower. And so it's, in a sense, you would think it would be, you know, having nothing and being scared of losing what you do have. And then someone being just really rich and having everything they need. It's not.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen, but they aren't living like any more free than the person who's living with the chained by the poverty mindset. You know what I mean? So what I've seen as like the biggest shift is being able to change to being a lender. Being not just a lender, being someone who's generous and can give into someone else. And where we find our biggest fulfillment is being able to like see other businesses or other people and being able to give into them and being able to invest in them and being able to like lend out to them in a sense of not just money, but like dreams and wisdom that we have or what we're learning, being able to communicate that. So that's one of the biggest things for us.
Yeah. I think a lot of like something that I struggled with a lot was having like a healthy money mindset because I think as kingdom people, I think money is just a hot topic anyways. Like it's just I think a lot of times people either see it as good or bad, and it's like, well, it's a tool, you know, like it's if it's in your hands and you're a good person, then it's good, you know, and so I don't think we need to demonize someone that makes a lot of money, or you know. I think that's probably the bigger thing that I see is like, oh, I don't want to charge for this. No, you know, and like making themselves so low and I mean, that's like a whole other topic. I feel like of
when
just
you know your value, right?
Yes. And like pricing yourself and all that stuff. I could go into a whole lot with that and I won't because it'll take a long time. But I'm glad that you mentioned that because I think the scarcity mindset is what really plays into that kind of thinking for kingdom Christians, like people that they just think that they need to be, you know, getting pennies, and it's like, well, how are you gonna take care of your family with pennies? You know, like how's that gonna work?
I think one of the things with that too is it's thinking you should only charge that much because you're a Christian. You know, that's one part of it, and I think another part of it too is like just in general, like when you have a poverty mindset, you're trying to hold what's yours, right? Because you don't know if you'll get any more.
Right.
And so that brings in, do you trust, right? And so personally, I came from, like, I wasn't in poverty, but I had a very strong poverty mindset in the way that I saw things. I was so frugal to the point of like, it just wasn't healthy, right? So it's interesting now that this is where I'm at because I deal with some people who are in that poverty mindset and I can see it and I can identify with it and I can be like, I completely understand where you are. One example, this is kind of funny, but like I have a new business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've been talking to you over time of like, I want to get a branding. I want to do this. So I've been like saving up to be able to do a website and to do branding like as it's meant to be, like with my full heart of this is who I am. This is what we're about, you know, all that.
Right.
So I've been like saving and being really careful to save and careful. And I felt this like clenching in me to like hold on to that so that I could do the thing that I wanted to do with it. Right. And in the past month, I would probably be close to being able to do like a branding thing with you. Mm-hmm. But there's this dream of something that Wyatt and I've been talking about. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I needed to let it go. Mm-hmm. And I know that it's going to happen. I've told you this is my goal for the year is to have branding and stuff. But I felt like it was important for me to like, as also a business owner, be able to like, be like, you know what? Like, I'm not going to hold on to it. Yeah. I'm going to lend it. So this is a little spoiler. This is a little spoiler, but there's something coming to Wyatt's business that I think is going to be super exciting. And it's, in a sense, I believe it's going to help grow his financial, like where he is financially in his business, but also like, it's just cool. It's going to be the identity of where he is. Like, I think it's exciting. I won't tell what it is, but it's like something that for me, I was holding for a little bit. I was like holding on to what's mine, like what's in not, we're
You've
married.
Worked so hard.
But what I worked hard to do,
you
know, and for the business to be able to have what I think it needs to have in the future. But then it was like, you know what? Like, I just had this shift of like, I have this right here. I can give it right to him right now.
Wow.
And it's going to, not only am I going to lend that, or, in a sense, like we're married, so it's not like we're lending, but like in a bigger sense.
For the sake of,
yes, take it out of my business and put it into his. Yeah. And use this as an investment into him to be able to grow. It's amazing because it's like we're sacrificing each other what we desire. Yes. Right? We're both sacrificing.
Wow.
And so, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of cool that this is recent. Like, I could have and had the tendency to be like, okay, I just need to hold on to what's what's mine.
Right.
But how much more beautiful and satisfying is it when I can invest and see him, his dreams come alive. Yes. Like, see him grow and him get excited about what's happening. And I really believe it's going to grow his business. You know what I mean?
That's incredible. I think that's a beautiful picture of marriage and doing business, like with you guys both being entrepreneurs. Like, that's really powerful. I'm excited to see like what it is.
And let's just say he's been creating like a series on TikTok that's like, it's a 5-part series. And so he's done 4 of the parts. And every single time he had to buy something that was more expensive than the time before to sell it. Or buy it to be a part of his business. Mm-hmm. And so he's gone up. And I think the last thing he bought was like either $250 or $300. I might be wrong.
Okay.
I have to go see the video. But it was like that much. Well, let's just say the 5th one is going to be a whole lot more.
Oh.
And so it's going to end that series. So in a few weeks, hopefully it'll be coming out.
Wow. Okay. So, I'm excited to see it. Okay. So as a business owner, there's a lot of highs and lows and all sorts of things. What inspires you and keeps you going and motivates you every day?
Yeah. So first, we just talked about it. Yeah. But my husband is an entrepreneur as well. Yeah. And to me, like, our days are sitting and dreaming together. Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of our conversations, we just are dreamers. Yes. Like, I do something very detail oriented, but I'm a dreamer. You know what I mean? And I can see that now. So, we dream together. He's a huge inspiration and like supporter of what I'm doing. I'm able to be inspired by what he's doing. Mm-hmm. Of course, I love like seeing content creators who are working in their own very creative niche or like what they're doing. Mm-hmm. You're a huge inspiration in that. Like, you being able to go for it and do your own branding that was really you. Like, that was a huge inspiration. Like, I can be myself. Mm-hmm. Like, and I don't have to like back up because I'm not like every other bookkeeper. Right. I can be who I am. Yes. And I think one of the other things is probably very unique to what I do, but I think some of the biggest inspiration is every single day when I get on the computer to go work on my clients' books, I'm working with 40 plus different companies. Yeah. So I'm seeing, content creators, I'm seeing resellers, I'm seeing homesteaders, I'm seeing landscapers, construction workers, I'm seeing, branding designers. Mm-hmm. I have a music artist. Like, I'm seeing all types of businesses come together and you know, be inspired by the little successes, the little wins,
Yeah.
you know, along the way.
Yeah.
So-
And when you see them doing really well, I'm sure that like,
It's exciting.
yeah, because I think the same way about my clients. I'm like, when I see them like going for it, like today at the grand opening for Lily and Sparrow, like it just brought me so much joy to see them like be excited about this, you know, and see the dream like come true. What's been the most challenging part of owning a business?
Yes. So I think the biggest thing is I'm a stay-at-home mom and a work-from-home mom.
Yep. Yep.
It's interesting too because it's not just that I'm working from home and staying at home. Wyatt's also a stay-at-home dad and a work-from-home dad.
Right.
So like it's beautiful because we get to be home,
Right.
But it's very difficult, and we have to really on a daily basis balance out
Find that rhythm.
Who needs the time today? Who needs the time tomorrow? We have to talk like throughout the week. Okay, tomorrow you've got morning, I got afternoon. Okay,
Yeah.
You need the full day. Okay, the next day I'm gonna have a full day. You know, we really work together on that.
Yep.
But it's balancing the middle of the day snacks, the you know, the
Nap time.
Yeah,
Who's going to put who down for a nap? Or who's going to put the
we
kid
don't
down
even
for
get naps.
Oh, she doesn't nap?
Goodness. Oh man, I wish. But no, we don't get naps. So it's like movie time, or it's you know, I think one of the biggest things is she's all about like putting on a show. Y'all need to get together because she's like all the time putting on a costume. Mommy, I need you to button this. So it's like I can be sitting there working and hanging out with her and playing, but it's like, button this, Mommy. Oh, I need my gloves back on.
And the psychology,
Yeah.
your brain, whenever you sit down to focus on something, it takes your brain like, I don't know however many minutes, but it takes you another several minutes to refocus again.
Yeah.
So as a parent working at home, it can get really challenging even just to sit down and focus. And I can't even imagine what that's like doing what you're doing, like being in Excel sheets and all sorts of or QuickBooks, whatever it is. I don't even know. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I can't imagine because I know what it's like for me. Like I'll be in the middle of designing something. I'm like, I literally can't stop right now. Like I have to like focus on this. Yeah. But Aaron carries a lot of the load during the day because he doesn't work. He stays with Asher. So I am thankful for that. But it is still very much a balance sometimes, some days.
It's a huge balance. And we've kind of over time learned like certain things we can do that we can be active with her and then also be working. Like there's certain things we can do with her.
Yeah.
But I
like
know
when he
that
goes
certain
thrifting,
yes,
he can take her.
Yes,
Yeah.
and sometimes he does. Sometimes he leaves her home so that he can hit more places
Like
in a
really
shorter amount of
focused,
time. He's found that he can take one long day a week, and instead of doing several days, he can do one long day, and so he's out that day, but the rest of the week he can be around.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But we found kind of the things that we can do with her around, and then here's the designated time that we need to do things separately. And sometimes that is, I know that you work at night sometimes. Wyatt does a lot of night stuff because he's a night owl. So I go to sleep and then I wake up early and work. But there are times where, you know, we put her down and then we'll say every couple weeks, it's like, there's one night where it's work night.
Yeah.
You know, I'll sit on the couch and he'd be in the garage. So we're like close to each other and we'll talk. Yeah. But it's like, this is how we've chosen to do this because it's so important to us. But it's the way that we do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I know a lot of like kind of that balancing that like, and also how unique it is.
Yeah.
Whenever you talk to people about, I was like, oh yeah, like, you know, or at least for me, I'm like, yeah, my husband stays home, you know, and he doesn't work or whatever. And people are just like, what? Like it always shocks people, you know, that like, I'm the breadwinner of the home, quote unquote. And, you know, but I mean, we've made that sacrifice for a reason. Like he could work, he could, you know, find a job somewhere and we could put Asher in daycare and we could do the thing. And I know lots of people do that and I am not by any means. And I've said this before, every child is different and needs different things.
Right.
And you as the parent know what's best for your child. For us, we knew that Asher needed both parents at home. And so that's what we pursued. We've made our sacrifice and that's what we've done. And if it's not, you know, acceptable in the eyes of others, well, that's not for you to speak into, you know, like, but I just know that, but also like we're in 2023, like
it's so different
many,
now.
There's so many different ways to make money and to live life.
Yeah. I feel like Wyatt and I, like we, in a different way, both sacrifice the same, like it's different than your situation, but like last year he really took the back burner to help me grow my business, right? Yeah. So it's like we constantly are trying to flow back and forth of how do we sacrifice to help each other. Yeah. But one other thing that was probably is the hardest part is, as a business owner, it's hard to clock out. Like, you know, we have the freedom to not clock in and clock out, but then it's easy to get stuck in, like, it's late at night and I'm still answering messages. Why am I still answering messages? Yeah. You know, setting that, like, I can check out at this time, you know? I think that's hard for me because I care so much about where people are, and if there's a urgent need, I want to help. Yes. But I've had to learn that, like, I have urgent needs too, and I have to wait till the next business day. Exactly. You know what I mean?
I've had to learn that as well.
Yeah. So it's hard. That's probably the most, you know, the hardest part. Being able to, like, stop. Yes. And, you know, more in a sense of just letting them learn the same thing I've had to learn of, like, it can wait till the next business day. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And if I was late on something, then we just have to do something about, you know, if I'm late on something that I need done and I push it on somebody else, I can't expect them to do it immediately. Right. You know, that's a common thing because it's bookkeeping. Right. Yes. So that's probably the hardest thing. I think, like, the most wonderful thing about, like, owning a business is that I feel like this is just the most incredible time of where I feel like I'm in my sweet spot. Like, we laugh because Wyatt and I talk about when I first started working for Bill, the first person I mentioned, like, when I first started working with him, I was, like, part-time with one of his businesses. And I was overwhelmed. Like, I felt like I can't get everything done. I, like, you know, and he helped me a whole lot with seeing things differently. And he's a huge part of, like, how I've grown as a business owner and as a bookkeeper and as a person, really. But I was, you know, concerned about, you know, like, I was just overwhelmed by what now I'm like, I wasn't even doing much, you know? And I think now I feel like I'm in such a sweet spot of where it doesn't make sense because I have, you know, 3 employees. I have 40 plus clients. We have stuff going on in emails every single day. Like, I feel like I'm more filtering emails than I am bookkeeping sometimes. But, like, you know, it's so much more going on, but I feel like right now I'm in my sweet spot. Yes. And so that's the beauty of where we are, is just, you know, I'm in my sweet spot.
It's incredible. Like, what if you hadn't done this? Like, what if you had just been like, I can't do this. I'm afraid to take the leap. Like, what if you hadn't? Then, like, I don't know.
I feel like it would have stopped me from dreaming. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Like, being able to step out on one thing I had dreamed about has now fueled so many dreams for us. You know what I mean? Yeah. Same thing for Wyatt. Like, we, you know, because we've been able to take, like, a risk, like, to actually go for it, you know?
Yeah. I'm proud of you. Thank you. It's a big deal. I know what that's like to just be like, all right, I'm going to trust God. Like, we'll see, you know? And like, I talk about how I naively started my business. Like, I was like, I'll get clients. I can do this, you know? And then I was like, I'm not getting any clients and I have no idea what I'm doing. And I love that you're in your sweet spot. Sorry, how many years of business have you had?
So I've been doing bookkeeping for, like, about almost 7 years. Off and on with different people that I will work with one person. Right. But actually starting it was November of 2021.
Okay, that's wild. So you have gotten to your sweet spot like in business so much quicker than a lot of people. Like for me, like it took me a long time to, and I don't even know. I feel like I'm in like the sweet spot in some ways, like with creativity and how I approach things and like my framework and the way that I run my business, I feel like really confident in. But in other ways, I'm like, I don't know, like I still want to grow in these other areas, but I feel good, you know, like I feel good with where I'm at right now. It feels like aligned and healthy. But I'm just so proud of you. And I'm so thankful that you took the risk to start it.
Yeah. Thank you.
So what's next for you? What's next for Ever Leslie Bookkeeping? Tell us the deets.
So my biggest goal, literally my biggest goal for this year is to get a website. Yes. It sounds so simple, but like I really want to have branding. So even though we're pausing for a minute.
Why do you want branding? Tell us why.
So I guess I should say this first. I got really, again, lucky, but I think it was just how it was meant to happen. I got really lucky because I had content creators who were my first clients. So I've been blessed to not have to market. Like, the only marketing I've done is buying those sticky notes that I got you. Like, I got them for one event. That's the only thing I spent on marketing. Wow. Like, I've never actually paid for ads or a logo.
Yeah.
Sorry, Canva.
It's okay. It's all right. You forgive.
But, you know, I've been, just really blessed to not have to do that yet.
Yeah.
But I know that will help solidify, like, where I am. Yeah. And I have dreams of going into, you know, creating content that people can purchase to be able to use. Or to be able to learn about their niche or be able to learn about their own bookkeeping or how to understand what they're doing. Okay. You know, I have a dream to, like, kind of expand that. Yeah. And to create, you know.
So to be more, like, resourceful?
Yes. Okay. Create resources for people to be able to grow.
So you need some good, like, branding for that?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think more than anything, I know how solid I see a business. Like, I think a business is solid when I know that they know who they are. Yeah. Right? Like, you know who you are. Yeah. I can trust it.
That's the beauty of branding.
Yeah. And so I recently started investing in courses, and it was like, I chose the course because I saw this person who was solid. Their brand was very clear. They are, you know, in this to teach about this, this, and this. Yes. And so I'm like, okay, they know what they're talking about. Yep, I'm getting that. Yep. You know what I mean? Yep.
Pay attention to what, like, resonates with you. Like, if you own a business, pay attention to, like, what drives you to purchase something. That is, then if you can pay attention to that, like, think about that, how you can apply that to your own business. Just like small little tip. Yeah.
No, it's so big. And so I just think it's, again, we're at a point now where I feel like we have a structure of where we can grow. Now I feel very confident. I told you before, like, I was trying to slow the fire hydrant of clients coming in.
That's a great problem. Yeah.
It's a great problem. But it is a problem because at first I didn't feel like I was ready to take on more. And so I've had to put on, like, waiting lists and that kind of thing. And so now I feel like we're finally at a place of where I have great bookkeepers who are, you know, set up. They know what they're doing. They know how to even help me with managing reports and that kind of thing. And so, like, you know, we're able to, like, have a better team to work together. Yeah. And we're finding a flow of that. And so now I feel like we're at a place of where we can grow. So I'm like, I would love to have branding to be a part of that. Yes. And creating more content.
Yeah. You know, I love that for you. I'm excited for when that day comes.
You.
Okay. We've talked a lot. We've covered a lot of good stuff. I hope that this has been helpful. How can people connect with you? I'm sure they're just going to fall in love with you after this episode. So where can they connect and get in touch with you?
So this is the question. Of course, I'm talking to a branding expert, and I hate this question because I don't have a website yet to send anyone.
Oh, see, this is
another part. This is another part of this. So I have an Instagram. It's Ever Leslie Bookkeeping. Yes. And then, of course, my email is just everleslieBookkeeping@gmail. One day when I have a website, it'll be at Ever Leslie Bookkeeping or something. Yeah. But we are here and content with where we are, right?
Yes, we are. We're celebrating where we are. Yep.
So right now it's Instagram and email. And if you connect on Instagram, then we can communicate and we can have a consultation. That's how I filter in clients and really just help with, you know, where you're going.
Okay. Anything else? Are you good?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for joining. I hope this was helpful, and we'll catch you next week. Bye.